Hey besties, it's Stephy, your bestest bestie. Happy New Year 2020 self-care year. I'm here to show you guys how I tame my ungroomed brows. Let's get it! Alright bestie, so first things first, I start off with skincare, skin prep, however you want to call it. This is the Clinique Moisturizing Gel. I just go ahead and rub that all over my face. And I do add a primer. I did not show the primer because it's all about the brows in this video, right? So I go ahead and brush my brows up. I am using the Elmers washable glue. This is the purple stick. I go ahead and apply one layer, and then I brush it through, and then I go ahead and apply another layer. And the reason why I apply the glue is because I feel like it adds a barrier, and then when it's time for me to go ahead and draw my brows on, it helps it. Like, especially for the unruly hairs towards the bottom, it lays them flat so that when I apply the concealer, it just sits on top of it instead of the brow hairs sticking out. Hope that makes sense. And the brow pencil that I use is from the Dollar Tree, and I am very proud of that, believe it or not. Like, I love this brow pencil. So what I go ahead and do is I follow my brow structure, but I do like a high arch. That's just my personal preference. My natural brows do not arch high. If you look towards the bottom, there's hair all up under there. And yeah, that's my natural brow, but I like it high. So I just draw on how I want my brow to end up looking as much as possible. So I want them high, so I go ahead and drive them high, and I pretty much just fill it in. When I go to the top, I do small strokes, so it's not as harsh. The line is not as harsh. I feel like the smaller the strokes, the line doesn't look like it's just, you're heavy-handed and you just drew it on. Like, the smaller the strokes, I feel like they look more natural. That's my opinion. And what I do to keep my brow as neat as possible is I keep the brow pencil as sharp as possible. Like, really, really sharp. Especially when I get towards the beginning. I try not to have it as harsh, and I draw on stroke-like hairs to mimic my natural hairs. And backstory, the guy who cut my brows jacked them up. So yeah, I have to work a little bit harder, but whatever. I just go ahead and draw those to make them look as natural as possible towards the beginning. And then towards the end, I kind of like the full look, the full effect. So I draw those in and fill them in. And the end is balding a little bit anyway, so yeah. But I go ahead and I draw it on to my desired shape. Like I said, I like a high arch, and this is my desired shape. And I go ahead towards the beginning, and I kind of try to, it's not fluff. What do I try to do? Like fade it out. There you go. I try to fade it out as much as possible. This brush I got out of a kit from Amazon. I am going to put the link down below. I love this brush. This is like my favorite brush. Like, this is my GOAT brush. I even use these brushes on my clients. So, moving on. The concealer that I use is the Fawn from LA Girl Pro Conceal. LA Girl Pro Conceal. Get it together. So from LA Girl Pro Conceal. And when I first start concealing my brows, I do not use a lot of concealer because I feel like when you use too much concealer, you can mess up. So I use a little bit, and I literally just put it at the end. And I start at the arch because, like I said, I like my arch high. So I place the concealer where my arch is, and I just continue to drag it in small strokes. Like, I feel like it's harder to be as precise when you use too much and you just drag it. That's from my personal experience and from what I've seen. So I use short strokes throughout my whole brow, and then I just pretty much fix it how I want it to be done. Not fix it, conceal it how I want it to be done. I drew it on pretty well this time, you know, pat my back because usually I don't get it as good as I want it to, but I drew it on pretty well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and follow the shape that I already drew on without taking off too much. And I go ahead and conceal under the end area a little bit more than I do the beginning, towards the beginning of my brow, because that's where the hair is going to stick out the most. So I go ahead, you're going to see towards the end of the video, I go back and forth with that area just because I don't want the hair to stick out. That's why it's so important to apply the glue, because like I said, it creates a barrier. So it allows the concealer to lay flat. And I use this brush from Real Techniques to go ahead and blend. I love this brush. This is my favorite brush. You see how it's on there? It's not on there perfect. I didn't do no extra nothing. And the brush is gonna blend it out. All I do is dab. I try not to drag at all. I dab wherever the concealer is. I just dab it in place. And then the brush is gonna do all the blending. Make sure to periodically look at what you're doing to make sure that it is living up to the expectations of how you want your brow to look aesthetically. So yeah, now we are going to move on to the top. This is the brush that I use to conceal the top. And what I use is my foundation. It's Fit Me number 340 Cappuccino. This is the matte. And I literally only get the foundation from the cap because I don't want to overdo it with the foundation and possibly mess up. I start towards the beginning of my brow and I just use short strokes. Short strokes. This is what helps me not mess up. Everybody does it differently, but personally, when you take your time, in my opinion, you don't mess up as much. Instead of you trying to do one straight perfect line and then at the end you alter the shape of the brow. Towards the end, I try to get it as close as possible without messing up the shape of the brow because I like the way that it is and I don't want to take too much off. So this is how it's looking now. You could always go back and fix anything, which I did go back and add some more foundation towards the top. I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the camera, but I was noticing the color of my unruly brows towards the bottom, so I'm gonna go ahead and add more concealer at that area. And then I get this small brush that I got from Real Techniques. The link will be at the bottom. And I go ahead and add my powder. This is my L'Oreal Infallible powder that I love. Okay, I use the 600 under my brow and then the 700 on my face. And I use this small brush so I can get as close as possible. I try not to use big brushes towards this area so that the powder doesn't get on my brow and I end up having to go back and fix it and, do all that. So I go back again with some concealer to cover that up. Yes, I'm putting concealer over powder. Get over it. There's no rules to makeup. You do what you gotta do to get the look that you want to have. So I go back and forth with the concealer and the powder. But what I do make sure is the powder is covering the concealer so it doesn't look weird and chalky or anything like that. But this powder is a really good powder and I love it. So it comes out really good for me. And like I was saying about the brush, I use a small brush so that the powder doesn't get in the darkness of the eyebrow and I have to go back and do too much. What I'm trying to do is avoid having to go back and forth. And what I mean by going back and forth is messing up and then going back to fix it. Okay, I'm going to add some lashes and do my face. These lashes are from Glam Beauty Supply. This is the complete look. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me how you feel. Tell me any video suggestions. I want to do a foundation routine, a really simple one. Let me know if you guys like this simple foundation routine and we can get it Happy New Year. Happy 2020 self-care year. Let's get it! Thank you guys so much for watching this video of how I tamed my ungroomed brows. Tell me guys what you think. And don't forget to leave some suggestions down below. And don't forget, don't go on red lights and don't stop at green lights. Okay, bye.